Hello everyone. In this video I will be explaining how I entered my data on SPSS and how I tested the reliability of my data. In front of me is the variable view. What I did here is I entered the variables that I had, such as employee ID, employee name, and here I have the variable of employee creativity. There are 13 questions to measure employee creativity, as you can see in front of you. And then I have a question related to education, working experience, extrinsic reward for creativity, 8 questions to measure extrinsic rewards for creativity, and then there is intrinsic motivation as a variable, performance goal orientation, and so on. So let's take an example for the first variable, which is employee ID. Employee ID, the type of the variable is numeric because it's a number, an ID. And then we have decimals, it would be 0 decimal places. And the label, I also labeled it as employee ID. I can put spaces in the label, however, I cannot put spaces in the name. And then is there any values? No, there is no value that I need to explain. And then the type of measure, is it nominal or ordinal or a scale? In this case, it is a nominal measure. And then I have employee name. In this case, the type selected would be string. Okay. And then also I put a label for it, and it is also considered as a nominal measure. Okay. And then I have the first variable, employee creativity. In this case, I have put the question in the label section. This is the question that has been asked in the questionnaire. I have put it in the label section, but it is used to measure employee creativity as a variable. And then in this section, I have added values. Why? Because I used Likert. Now, the reason why I added a value, because I used the Likert scale in this case as a response for this question. That's why I added the value. For example, for the value of 1, the label will be strongly disagree. For the value of 2, the label will be disagree. 3 will be somewhat disagree, and so on, depending on how many points. In this case, Likert scale is 7 points for this question. And then I have selected the type of measure, which is ordinal measure. The reason why I selected an ordinal measure is that an ordinal measure tells the order of things. And in this variable, I can tell the order of employees' creativity, if it is low or high. And then moving on to other variables. For example, we have here education, which is a part of the demographic data that was collected. Now, in this case, as you can see, for the value, I have added a value of 1 for high school graduates, 2 for bachelor's, 3 for master's, and 4 indicates PhD. And likewise for the remaining variables. And now let's have a look at the data view. Now, moving on from the variable to the data view, the variables that have been entered in the variable view are shown in the data view as columns, such as employee ID, employee name, employee creativity 1, 2, 3, and so on. And now if you notice here, the numbers, employee creativity 1, this means that employee 1 answered 6 for the question that measures, for the first question that measures employee creativity. Okay? And likewise, the answers for the rest. Now what I can do here is click on this button. And now what happened is that all the values that were coded have converted to the label that was inserted. Okay? And now the way I did the reliability test is that I went to analyze, okay, and then scale, and then reliability analysis. Okay, now reliability. Now I should do reliability analysis for each variable. For example, in this case, I can consider, for example, those questions. In my current task, I feel satisfaction when, and so on. All of those questions that I'm dragging, all of those items, let's say that I'm dragging to the other side, belong to one variable, which is intrinsic motivation in this case. So I have 5 items. What I can do here is I go to statistics, and then I select descriptives, enter item correlation. I want to find a summary of the mean and correlation as well. And then I click on continue. And then what I can do is insert a scale label, which is intrinsic motivation in this case. And then click on OK. And here is our reliability test for intrinsic motivation. So it shows a Cronbach's alpha of 0.9, which is a good indicator because it should be greater than or equal 0.7. And then we have item statistics, which shows the mean, standard deviation, enter item correlation metrics. And as we can see in front of us, that the results are somehow symmetric, meaning we can see here 1, and then those 2 items are symmetric, and then 1, and then those 2 are symmetric, and so on. This shows the correlation between each item and the other. And then we have summary item statistics, which shows the mean, the range, the difference between the minimum and the maximum, and variances. N of items, we have 5 items. You remember that I dragged 5 items, which represents intrinsic motivation in this case. And then we have item total statistics, which shows if I deleted this item, what will be the Cronbach's alpha. If item is deleted, could be useful in case if the Cronbach's alpha initially was not equal to or above 7. So this gives an indication of what would it be if we delete one of those items. And then finally we have the scale statistics. And so that's it. This is just an example of the way I applied reliability on one of the variables. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and of course, always remember to save your work.